Hi guys, this is Niharika Singh. I'm the GenSec of the Biology Society and I'm currently pursuing biotechnology. I'll tell you a bit about the society first. The Biology Society is an independent society which has bioenthus and like-minded people who want to learn new things and share the knowledge with people who are actually interested. We believe that there is no limit to learning and you can learn from anyone and from anywhere if you have the will. You all can share any bio-related articles or videos on the group, and we can have discussions and debates on the same. We have been conducting webinars, and now we are starting with book discussion club as well. I, on behalf of the Biology Society, welcome you all to our first book discussion. I'll tell you a bit about our book discussion club. We'll be selecting a book and reading 2 chapters of the book every week. Then on Sundays, we can have discussions about the 2 chapters read in the past week. Then we can go on to another book when we are done with this one. And you all can also suggest any books if you are interested. Yeah, I guess that is all about Book Discussion Club. So today's event will be facilitated by our readers Sakshi Gupta and Shreya Goyal. They both are also pursuing biotechnology and love reading and discussing about various bio aspects. So Shreya and Sakshi, please take it forward. Before that, I would like everyone to turn on their cameras. That's how our book discussion will get a real feel. Hi, everyone.
Hi guys.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi everyone. So we are here today to have the interesting discussion on the first 2 chapters of the book, The Sixth Extension and Unnatural History by Elizabeth Colbert. So before we start this discussion, I would like to ask you all, how many of you or you have interest in reading different kind of books, and what kind of books do you all read?
Or do you read books or not?
Yeah, do you even read books or no?
I prefer listening to audiobooks.
That is the new thing now.
Yes.
That's nice.
So, okay.
So I would
So
like
another
to give
question I have
summary
for
of the book.
everyone, like, who has read the book, like, just not for the sake of it? Like, who had an active interest in reading?
Okay,
You know I did.
I'll be honest. I read it because see, currently I'm not getting time, so for me it was like I have to read it, so I have to. That's why I read it.
I mean, Jense को तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Like, okay, so
Okay, so
I'll
I'll give you a brief summary of the book. This book, The Sixth Extinction and Unnatural History by Elizabeth Kolber, is based on the 5 popular mass extinction events that took place on the Earth even before the human life existed, and how these mass extinction events have changed the biodiversity of the Earth, and how, due to these extinctions, 90% of the life that existed has vanished on this Earth. So we will be discussing here only the first 2 chapters of the book. So I would like Shreya to give a summary of the first chapter.
yeah, of course. So first of all, the sixth extension by Elizabeth Colbert, it studies the relationship between humans and human beings and the environment, and it concludes that human behavior is on the verge of causing, or might have caused, a mass extinction, the sixth in the history of the planet. All over the world, different species are already going extinct thanks to the declining amount of available undeveloped land and the rising temperature. In Panama, for example, where she visits for her case study for related to the same, the population of golden frogs, once impossible to avoid, has dwindled to a few dozen. Colbert's visit to Panama to study the golden frog inspired her to learn more about extension and its place in the history of science. So, yeah,
Okay, so as those who have read the book, they might be knowing the golden frogs in the city of El Val in Panama. They were so famous. They were considered lucky by those people, and they started
Yes.
vanishing in 1900. Like they were popular and easily found, but now they are preserved creatures and they thrive in proper care just. So, how many times is it that we notice the life surrounding us?
I think that especially happens in the rainy season when we notice all the small, small creatures around us.
You know, like yeah, that bird lives around my house. That yeah, I've seen that animal before.
yeah,
Even
Anyone
stray
who
dogs
can name?
contribute biodiversity.
Sorry.
See, when we talk about all these other amazing creatures around us, even stray dogs constitute those creatures.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
yeah, of course. But
Like
I guess in
I'll
the
say,
rainy season, I guess it's more mainly about like the frogs and the snakes which visit. Like I remember, like when I was like sixth standard, like a one or two snakes crawled up like next to my room, and they literally were about to enter my room. Thanks to my like house help who kind of removed him from that place. Otherwise, God knows what would have happened. The same happens around like my house with like Scorpios and these tiny creatures, and I'm like really scared of them. As Nanki has something to say. I've recently noticed the lack of earthworms and slugs in my area during the rainy season.
actually,
So
even
that
I
happens
remember
to
in my childhood, we like in the morning when we used to get up and go outside, there were so many these small, small earthworms, but I don't notice them so often now.
yeah, the snakes
When
would
I
have
was
been
a kid,
nice
Yeah.
roommates.
snails used to be very common during the rainy season. Now you hardly see any snails.
Yeah.
And that is also the case in
Even,
the common house sparrows, you know.
even the
Yeah,
fireflies are disappearing. The
There used to
fireflies.
be rumors when
in
I
my
was
area,
yeah.
those house
they
sparrows have
died away, but
totally
there is
disappeared.
vanished found. They are rarely found now.
No, he's
Jubilees.
talking about his place, not in general. Of course, there are, especially in the summer. Yes, there has been a decline in fireflies. Like I remember, like when I was a child, I used to like trap in my hands, and
Catch
but
them.
now they're really seen. So that's the difference, right? That's what we are going to talk about. That's the
Humans have
extension.
changed since like in the past 10 years, if we notice, from our childhood till now. I guess all of us are 18, 19, 20, or above that. And so much has changed in such a little time. And we are talking about billion years when we talk about extinction.
Totally.
Yeah,
Regarding
So,
fireflies, I remember one thing that during recess, so during my primary school or something, so in recess डर लगता था कि मुंह में ना चली जाए फायरफ्लाई, वो गर्मियों में इतने उड़ते थे ग्राउंड पे अभी दिखाई नहीं देता अभी.
yeah.
they
Are you
don't
talking about
fly.
dragonflies?
Yeah, sorry, yeah,
Hmm.
dragonfly.
They come
Dragonflies
especially
fly
during
in
rainy
the
season, like when the when it's
they're
like cloudy or like about to rain. That's when they
Dragon appear.
Dragonflies come up.
yeah. Old
so
Owl City
as we
Fireflies.
huh?
Owl
No,
City, what's that?
Yeah,
We
the
didn't
Owl City
get
is a
it.
band, I guess.
Oh,
It's a band, and Fireflies is a song by them, I guess.
okay. I haven't heard of it. News to me. All right. So yeah, one thing more which the author discusses in this book, the sixth extension, the main reason of extension of these species is human travel. Since prehistoric times, different species have been confined to different ecosystems. Each ecosystem has developed a complex equilibrium predicated on its isolation from the rest of the world. Now, due to modern human travel and transportation. However, different species have traveled around the world, upsetting the equilibrium of the new ecosystems they enter. Even if you have read the prologue, one of the main, where the author talks about the evolution of humans, she talks about how the population of the human beings increased, how they, took control of the adjacent, continents, and that's where the problem started. That's where the extension of different species started. So that's what the main idea behind the book is, making people aware of the extensions of the species, making people aware that maybe they are the reason behind it. Of course, whatever they do, their activities, maybe it be industrialization, globalization, the way we use the resources around us. So these are one of the some of the main reasons that are responsible for the extinction of these species. Yes. Also, if you have read in the first chapter, coming to the first chapter, we have, the author discussed that there was a special species of frogs, which was like, French-limbed frogs, which were found in 2005, but they disappeared, a few years later. So that's where the author has really, thrown light on, and she has claimed critical concern about it.
If
Yeah.
I'm
So
not wrong, the mass amphibian extinction is because of a fungus that colonizes the gut of amphibians, and it was
yeah, yeah,
introduced inadvertently, probably when sailors brought some species of frog for to enhance for pregnancy tests, I guess. Right? I'm forgetting the exact species, but you can actually they mentioned this species of the females, like if they are exposed to the urine of a pregnant woman, then they ovulate those frogs. I'm guessing. I got told. I'm not sure exactly.
yeah, this was
So,
mentioned.
Yeah.
That was like theoretical, or it was not like something solid.
It might have been one of the reasons though. Like because
Yeah.
that did happen historically speaking.
So
Like the
as we talk about,
transportation reasons, like we can also see a recent example like murder hornets transported via some ship or something container and from Asia to US. So there they are eating other bees and all that, affecting the ecosystem over there.
yeah,
that
those
news
are
comes every now and then, like the transportation of such, endangered species to other countries. They are brought to India from different countries, or the endangered species here are, transported to other countries. So that news happens, like, comes every now and then. So that's, I guess, that's nothing like new.
अब मैं एक सवाल पूछना चाहूंगी आप लोगों से। जैसे बुक में मेंशन है कि एल्गाल की सिटी में एम्फिबियंस एक्सटिंक्ट होने लगे थे, तो वहाँ के एक लोकल ने, ग्रिफिथ ने, वहाँ पे एक एम्फिबियन कंजर्वेशन सेंटर स्टार्ट किया। तो ओके, दैट वाज अ बिग स्केल कंजर्वेशन स्टेप, बट have you ever noticed these small things for conserving natural life around you? आप में से किसी ने कभी
Zoos or zoological parks are big examples of this.
Sorry?
Zoos, also known as zoological parks, are examples of this. They are very good examples of this.
Yeah,
Chatbir Zoo,
zoos are.
Chandigarh,
Yeah,
Chatbir Zoo.
Zirakpur.
No, but I won't list zoo as some conservation site because those are simply for entertainment purposes. Like there may be some motivation that okay,
Yeah,
we have to
I mean,
conserve,
in countries
but
like India, those are mostly for entertainment and tourism value, but actually, many animals are bred in captivity.
Okay, I did not want to talk about zoos and conservation parks and all. What I meant is कि यार मतलब जैसे होता है कि हमारे यहाँ से ये सब गायब होता जा रहा है, कुछ ना कुछ करना चाहिए। लाइक लोकल पीपल मिलके कम्युनल स्टेप्स जो लिए जाते हैं, वैसा कहीं आप लोगों ने नोटिस किया है?
मैंने ऐसे मतलब मेरे जो सिटी है जलंधर में, उसमें मतलब एक एनजीओ टाइप है। उन्होंने क्या किया था कि जो मतलब जो घ्यो के वो होते हैं डब्बे, स्टील के जो होते हैं, उसको उसको चारों साइड से काट के ना उसको मतलब प्लेट सा बनाकर और उनके चारों साइड पे वो जो चिड़िया का होता है कनक वगैरह चारों
Yeah.
चारों साइड वो डाल के और सेंटर में पानी डाल दिया था और उन्होंने मतलब ऐसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने स्टार्ट कर दिए थे फ्री में। मतलब अभी रिसेंटली की बात है ये, मतलब लोगों के वो अपने घर के मतलब अपनी कॉलोनीज में लगा सकते हैं ताकि जो मतलब आजकल गर्मी में स्पैरोस वगैरह मर जाते हैं उनको पानी ना मिले तो लोगों ने ये सब स्टार्ट कर दिया था। अभी लॉकडाउन की बात है।
Nice. This is
हाँ
good.
जी।
Even I remember, so the place where I live is like densely, like, you know, has like forest reserves and everything. So there's like a forest station, like, you know, where the local forest officers reside, and they work in the welfare of the animal species located like in that particular region. So that this incident happened in like 2010, I guess. So it's like almost 10 years now. So what they did was, because there's a lot of like industrialization around here, so a lot of like heavy vehicles like trucks and tractors move around. So in the morning, like around like 4 या 5 बजे जो भी like काफी रेयर स्पीशीज भी हैं यहाँ पे, like लायंस की, हाइनास की, so they used to cross the road and they used to like लोगों को डराते थे like घर के बाहर जाके। तो फिर
Are you sure that they were lions?
सी मुझे जितना पता है मैं उतना बता रही हूँ।
मेरे को
मैं
पता
मिली
है
नहीं जाके उनसे।
लाइन्स नहीं
कहानियाँ।
हाँ,
It's like
yes, lions crossing road. तो
Yeah, I
like
guess they must be panthers because panthers are found in.
सी मुझे नहीं पता, ये छोटे होते की बात है तो मैं बता रही हूँ। फिर मेरे को ऐसे याद है कि लायन से, हाइना से, तो ऐसे ऐसे मेरे को याद है। तो वो क्रॉस करते थे रोड, तो कई बार क्या होता था कि कहीं जैसे हेवी व्हीकल्स है, अब अंधेरे में धुंध में दिख नहीं रहा है, तो वो उसको लाइक हिट कर देते थे। तो इससे भी काफी ज्यादा जो है, who is this? Did they wait for the red light? Well, no. फॉरेस्ट एरियाज में रेड लाइट नहीं होती है। लाइक इफ तुम पता नहीं कहाँ रहते हो, पर यहाँ पे तो नहीं होती है रेड लाइट, सो ऑब्वियसली नॉट। सो उन्होंने क्या किया, उन्होंने काफी ज्यादा अफॉरेस्टेशन पे फोकस किया। उन्होंने एक छोटा सा लाइक जू टाइप का भी बनाया लोकल, जिसमें वो उन सब एनिमल्स को लाइक लाइक प्रोटेक्ट करके रखते थे। लाइक वहीं पे उनका सारा लाइक लोकल खाना एंड एवरीथिंग लाइक वो सब करते थे। तो उसमें विलेजर्स ने भी उनकी काफी हेल्प की थी। तो ये एक स्टोरी है, मतलब मुझे बतानी इतने से नहीं आई, बट ऐसा हुआ है। सो एक्सटेंशन
lion.
Nice, nice.
यार मुझे नहीं यार, लायंस थे या
Like
नहीं,
tortoise.
स्विगी नहीं था उस टाइम पे। तो सीबीआई पर
ओ भाई,
एसएसआर,
मारो मुझे मारो।
सॉरी,
लायंस तुम्हारे एरिया नालागढ़ में?
पटियाला तो मुझे नहीं पता, पर
मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, मैं मजाक नहीं उड़ा।
यार
शेयर ना लगा करते।
होते हैं।
जिसको
ना,
पता है।
अच्छा guys, एक serious question नहीं, sorry, actually I wanted to tell you something because it's relevant to conservation.
बोलो।
So I might be misremembering this, but when I was a kid back in London, so there was this park that I used to visit very often. It wasn't a zoo. It was just a normal park. मतलब बच्चे खेलते थे, people used to bring their dogs there, and they had this huge building next to the park, जहाँ पे there was an owlery where they kept basically owls and all kinds of birds. So I guess that was also one of the conservation steps for birds and owls and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's
Now,
good.
am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're right.
Yes.
So, what I want to tell is, I visited a relative, and I was like walking in the streets and all. So my cousin showed me that the local people there, they have built artificial nests and eating system for the birds there. So I was like, wow. So she told me that yeah, the number of the sparrows there is decreasing. So they don't want them to like disappear, and so they were like artificial nests hidden in the bushes so that the sparrows won't feel like these are not our nest. So I was like, wow, that's great.
But they sense it, na?
We were in fact when I was in 10th grade or 9th, I don't remember. We had workshops in our school for wildlife conservation, and we were even made to learn all these things, that how can we build artificial nests for birds and all. So yeah.
But don't
Nice.
birds sense that it is like they have that human touch to it, na? So I think birds sense that and then they don't reside in that nest.
No,
And like
I've seen that in
my parents like
I've seen that in Club Bird Sanctuary.
okay.
I've been there and I've seen the person that manages that place. He had shown around. There were several artificial nests placed there, and birds were actually living in them. So those nests are basically made up of materials like coconut husk and bamboos and threads and all these things. So I think that doesn't give them away much.
Because I remember कि बचपन में ये होता था कि काफी क्यूरियोसिटी होती थी, जैसे कहीं किसी बर्ड ने नेस्ट बनाया आसपास तो जाके देखो और फिर उसको छुओ, उसमें एग्स है वो देखो. बट फिर आई रिमेम्बर दिस कि पेरेंट्स बोलते थे नहीं नहीं छुओ मत, क्योंकि फिर
नहीं
मतलब
तो वो eggs गिरा देंगे.
हाँ हाँ कितना ट्रू है वो.
Acha, back on topic with the book discussion, I wanted to ask just a quick question from everyone. Who remembers the name of the conservatory जो Panama में बनी थी for the golden frogs? Do you remember the acronym as well as the full form?
Yep.
बताओ.
El Valle Amphibian Conservation Center, EVAC.
Correct.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't remember the full form. Nice, Sakshi.
I remembered both.
Here that animals are like मतलब डर लगता है उनको human species से. So this also like developed over a million years of time. So this is also fascinating. Like अगर जैसे ग्वालपेगोस करके एक आइलैंड है, तो वहाँ पे जैसे टर्टल्स वगैरह हैं और भी लैंड एम्फीबियन स्पीशीज हैं, तो उनका ह्यूमन कांटेक्ट बहुत ही नेग्लिजिबल है. सो इफ यू गो ओवर देयर, तो वो नहीं डरेंगे इन ह्यूमन से. So even एक बाद में एक in the later chapters it comes like एक आर्टिक में एक birds हैं, I forgot the name. तो वो भी like एक जो island है उसके ऊपर ऐसे हैं birds इतने ज्यादा कि you have to मतलब चलते वक्त ध्यान रखना पड़ता है कि you don't step over them. तो वो उनको भी like बिल्कुल डर नहीं लगता ह्यूमन से.
They might be used to it इसलिए.
Okay, so moving ahead in the book. So, the author travels to the Panamanian town of El Valle de Anton, which is located within a massive volcanic crater. So, until recently, golden frogs, if you have, you must have read about them, they were an extremely common sight in El Valle. The species was known to be extremely toxic. Thus, when the golden frogs of El Valle began to disappear, few people saw it as a crisis. This incident was mentioned in a children's book in Panama, from where the author found about it, and she was genuinely interested in the crisis that was happening in the city of Panama, and she traveled across to that town, where she read that the biologists in the town were trying to build a special facility to save the golden frogs. In the meantime, they captured a few dozen frogs and kept them in a frog hotel. So where they pamper the frogs and fed them well. So around the same time, there was a the author came upon a scientific article arguing that the world was in the midst of the sixth mass extinction, which would be devastating for amphibians and many other life forms. According to the article, there might have been 5 other previous mass extinctions, but the most recent one took place during the Cretaceous period, when famously the dinosaurs died out. The author was so struck by this article on mass extinction that she bought a ticket to Panama, to learn more about what could have been a Mars extension, which she found worth researching. Here she,
Yeah.
yeah,
This hotel time was basically the spa time for the frogs.
yeah.
Right.
So, so the author
I mean,
visits.
kind of a side note, but if we can have dog hotels, then why not frog hotels?
Well, of course, like yeah, dog hotels are common nowadays, like dog hotels, dog spas.
There are
But
dog restaurants.
yeah, but
Dog
this
rest.
If you
one
go to
was
Japan, there's
open.
numerous cat restaurants.
No, but this one was open the light of like the Mars extension. When the Mars extension of like Golden Cross happened, this hotel was open in that due to that cause. Otherwise, I don't think they would have been
Yeah,
very.
I know it was for conservation of the frogs, the golden frogs. It
Yeah, I
was
mean,
so that they
You
could
guys
who
are
breed.
else would
talking
be interested in the entertainment of frogs, right? Why
weird
would
one
they
or
open a dog hotel?
Cretaceous one.
That was just a joke. Come on my part. I was like,
It would
dog hotel,
increase
frog
the
hotel.
tourism
Guys,
as
come
well.
on.
Frogs
Sorry?
tourism?
No, it would increase the tourism as well. Frog hotels.
Yeah, I mean, it could bring in more tourists if, more golden frogs were to be seen in that region, but unfortunately, it's no longer the case. I mean, that book was written, I don't even know when, because the author traveled to Panama in like 2005, I guess. I think uske baad kabhi. And since then, I mean, these frogs are now extinct in the wild, so you can't see them in the wild, right? They were hoping to release these frogs into the wild, but the problem is the fungus that that colonizes the gut.
Yeah,
So
that's why
out
it is said that
out of the
these frogs are
BD
extinct
fungus.
in the wild. These golden frogs are extinct in the wild and they can only possibly survive in care. So they are thriving in Iraq and other conservation centers, but they cannot be released into the wild habitat.
And
Okay,
again, coming back to the cause of like how the frogs were infected with the fungus, the author explores a deeper cause of this problem, that is humans altering the environments. Humans travel around the world, taking new microbes, fungi, and animals with them wherever they go. So now, throughout this book, the author will show that humans are interfering with natural equilibrium of the earth, accelerating the process of mass extinction. So that's how we come to the end of chapter 1.
Okay,
यार ये
so
चैप्टर पढ़ के ना मेरे को बस ये लगा कि ये फंगस ना थानोस की तरह है सारे फ्रॉग्स को मार दिया
Actually,
उसने
my first thought when I read about the fungus, I remembered this dialogue from Golmaal again, where this Johnny Lever says to this guy कि तू तो fungus की तरह फैलता जा रहा है.
अच्छा
I
और
think he
जो
says this to Arshad Warsi.
जो फ्रॉग्स उन्होंने कंजर्वेशन में रखे थे सेपरेटली, so at the end they also went extinct. I forgot. So उनका क्या रीजन था एक्सटेंड होने का?
not
कौन
all of
से
them
हाँ basically जो frogs वो लाए थे ना वहाँ पे conservatory में, so some of them they were able to bring both genders of the frog, or some of them which they brought were, for example, there was this one species which they were only able to get one individual, right? So it went extinct in the wild before they could find a breeding pair. So that's why I guess that happened.
Okay.
yeah
Okay, so here we come to the end of the first chapter.
I just had one small doubt.
Yeah.
So, like I once watched Cosmos, and in that it was said that we had 5 extinctions, but the book says that it's the 6th extinction. So I was a little confused. What is the 6th extinction? Can anyone tell me?
So the 6th extinction is a mass extinction that is anthropogenic, that is caused by humans.
and that is basically talking about humans being the next target of this mass extinction program.
Like it's like so first 5 extinctions were like so पांचवी जो at the end Cretaceous period थी, it was like asteroids आए और dinosaurs extinct हो गए. So the first extinction was caused by plants, the first or second, I don't remember. So ऐसे 5 mass extinctions थी जहाँ पे majority of the either land species or ocean species, तो वो सारी disappear हो गई. So sixth extinction is the extinction caused by human species. तो जो जैसे it is मतलब काफी देर से चल रहा है. So at the present हम कह रहे हैं कि we are in the third wave of it. So मतलब जब से human species around a few lakh years पहले से जैसे expand करनी शुरू हुई, तो जहाँ जहाँ हम जा रहे थे वहाँ पे species extinct होने लगे. जैसे when we went to the Australia, जब हम अफ्रीका से ऑस्ट्रेलिया गए, तो उसके बाद ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जो जैसे बिग कैंगरूज थे जो लाइक बिगर साइज के थे, लाइक देवर आई डोंट नो साइज ऑफ एलिफेंट और समथिंग, तो वो एक्सटिंक्ट हो गए, हमने सबको मार दिया. देन जब हम अमेरिका वाली साइड गए तो वहां पे मैमथ थे, तो दे गॉट एक्सटिंक्ट बिकॉज जो ये बड़े एनिमल्स हैं इनका जो रिप्रोडक्शन रेट है काफी लो होता है, और उनको क्योंकि हम इतनी जल्दी चेंजेस हो रहे थे तो उनको एज इन टर्म्स ऑफ जियोलॉजिकल टाइम अडेप्ट करने का मौका ही नहीं मिला. कि जैसे लाइक अभी जो बर्ड्स वगैरह हैं, अगर हम उनके पास जाते हैं वो डर के भाग जाती हैं. तो उस टाइम क्योंकि सब कुछ इतनी जल्दी हुआ, तो दे उनके जीन्स में ये चीज इनबिल्ट ही नहीं हो पाई. सो इसके कारण बिकॉज ह्यूमंस भी डरते थे कि ओके इतना बड़ा है तो हमें वी हैव सम डिसएडवांटेज. तो ऐसे करके जहाँ जहाँ हम जाते रहे वहाँ पे डिस्ट्रक्शन हैपेंड एंड ऑल द थिंग्स वेंट एक्सटिंक्ट.
Also, I would like to conclude this question and answer by saying that the book describes it quite succinctly and quite beautifully with the statement, trace it far back enough and the root cause is one VD species. One VD species, of course, referring to humans.
Yep. So this second chapter, this begins with more finite details of the 5 mass extinction events, and it begins with the discovery of fossils in American continent and how they were studied to discover many giant sized animals that once existed on the earth. And here we get to know about a great scientist, Cuvier, and how he named and described many animals that are now extinct. So yeah, that's the brief of the chapter.
So let me lead you through what the second chapter will tell us. So through the concept of extinction is relatively uncontroversial today. Like everyone knows about it. Like it's so commonly taught, like even in like textbooks and in debates and everything. Scientists only realized that animals go extinct very recently. Now through this chapter, Colbert, the author, will study the process by which scientists introduce a new idea. For example, the idea that animals may go extinct. Usually this idea is dismissed and ridiculed at first, but this eventually is accepted as a fact. However, there are still some people who don't recognize this fact of extinction. They probably don't consider it because it may not have that much of an impact in their daily lives. But the author's goal is to convince these people of the dangers of mass extinction. Next, Sakshi.
Yeah, so Parth sir, you were asking about the Parth sir, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
About that reference for Genesis, it's on
Yeah.
page 27 at the end of first paragraph.
1 second.
Yeah, sure.
So regarding this realization of the extinction, so I think it's like I don't know why इतनी late पता चला हमें इसके बारे में, like in the 1800s or something. So I think like maybe like so there is also discussion on Aristotle. So and also like जैसे Egyptians में इतना वो बना रहे थे, so they have stones, इतने stones इकट्ठे कर रहे थे. So फॉसिल्स तो काफी देर से मिल ही रहे हैं, बट आई डोंट नो कि ये आइडिया के पहले स्पीशीज थी और वो फिर एक्सटिंक्ट हो गई, ये इतना लेट क्यों आया?
Actually, I can explain that a little bit.
Sure.
So see, as you, मैंने पहले भी कहा था आप लोगों से कि जैसे कि ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट में ब्रेन की डेवलपमेंट भी साथ साथ न्यू आइडियाज के लिए भी टाइम लगा था. So at first that the Greeks, they like, for example, they find a skull of a dinosaur in the fossil. A normal person, what would think, who had never seen it? He will say, oh, definitely it is a dragon or some kind of biblical things. And Bible was also inspired from such things, that such monsters existed. And there is a monster in Bible known as a Balis. I don't know its name. It was a
Alice.
Balis, like the Harry Potter in the Prisoner of Azkaban में तीसरा एक था, एक सांप सा नहीं होता था यार, पता नहीं, Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
Serpent.
Slytherin?
No.
Chamber of Secrets में जो last में बड़ा सा था एक.
Basilisk.
Basilisk. That is also the name of the biblical monster, Basilisk. So
Yeah.
it was inspired from some kind of a dinosaur fossil that must have been found by the ancient Israelites. So in the medieval age, they were termed as the dragons in Europe, and they were considered evil. And in the East Asia, they were considered as good luck bringing animals. They just made the theories about it. At least, though they were wrong, but the scientific temperament came after the Renaissance era. The Leonardo da Vinci and everyone else. The scientific temperament, the Newton, and biology also developed during the 17th and 18th century. You must have read about those experiments about the spontaneous growth last time, as I told you about the evolution. It's not that the dinosaurs were just made in one day. There was a Crystal Park Dinosaur Museum in London. You can see there are the statues of the dinosaur as they were proposed. First of all, they are just like the sluggish lizards rather than an active type of Tyrannosaurus as we know it today.
Okay, that's nice. So when I was reading this second chapter, I read about that scientist Cuvier who studied the fossil bones and all, and he gave theories which were like almost treated like prophecies because they proved correct in future. So when I read about Cuvier, I felt like Cuvier was much like Gottlieb Haberland.
Yeah.
Don't you? Gottlieb Haberland is known as the father of plant biotechnology, and he also gave some theories which were not at that time, but they proved correct ahead when new things were discovered. So it was much like that reference. And when these
what he basically did was he was a naturalist.
This dude, Jacques Cuvier, he was actually his birth name was not actually Jacques Cuvier. He was named after a dead relative. Now, how was this person who was actually called Jacques related to Cuvier?
What? I didn't get.
So this guy's birth name was not actually Jacques Cuvier, but he was named after a dead relative. Now, what was the exact relation between this person and the dead person?
the dead person was his brother.
Yeah.
Nice quiz.
He's ensuring that the readers have read it like complete, like they can get research work. All right. So
Georges Cuvier also has titled as the founding father of paleontology.
Yeah.
So I was talking about Georges Cuvier. He was a naturalist, so he studied the fossils of an animal, now known as American mastodon or something like that, Mammoth americanum. So he concluded that all such creatures must have died out in the distant past. Like, he's referring to the extinction of the frogs. So in his own lifetime, many of Cuvier's own ideas about extinction were harshly criticized, but now, hundreds of years later, Cuvier is praised for being ahead with his time. So basically, he introduced the revolutionary idea that animals go extinct. He didn't understand why animals go extinct, meaning that he couldn't back up his idea with a detailed theory, with which he could possibly explain the people around him. So, however, Cuvier's analysis of fossils and animals remains convinced him that some of the animal species he discovered were no longer in existence, which was enough evidence to prove that, to put in motion a force, a paradigm shift, in fact, in ideas about extinction. So he started gathering some ideas. Started building up some theories. One of the most important stages in this process was, of course, gathering evidence. Although the explorers who traveled to, Ohio, if you have read the book, you will know, they probably didn't think of themselves as scientific research assistants. The fossils they discovered, though, they played a crucial role in moving scientific discourse forward. So, yeah. Sakshi, will you like to explain about Thomas Jefferson?
Sorry, what? Repeat again.
Thomas Jefferson. There's a mention of Thomas Jefferson, a naturalist. So he was a statesman as well. So what he did, he wrote a paper in which he argued that remains that Fauvier was talking about, they belong to an existent, undiscovered animal, probably the largest animal alive. So he hoped to track down this mysterious animal somewhere down in the American continent. If you have read about it, you will know that there's a whole episode going on of Cuvier and Jefferson. Anyone would like to argue about it? No.
Can you repeat the last part of the question?
So I'm talking about the episode, the part that Cuvier and Jefferson play in the second chapter. If you have read the book, you will know. Yeah, I'm basically talking about, their conclusions, what did, you get from the book, the second chapter, their main findings regarding extinction. If you know, you can discuss them, or I just speak about it.
Thomas Jefferson basically.
Was basically, yeah. Can I? Okay, sorry. Thomas Jefferson was basically an Englishman. So similar to Cuvier in France, he was another person who claimed that there was a world before ours, which consisted of extinct animals, and he also sought out the fossils that Cuvier had. So, but before he could actually procure one of the fossils from Cuvier, war broke out. So in the war. Britain was fighting France, so he didn't get a chance to actually go to France and procure the fossil from Cuvier.
George Cuvier?
Yeah.
There was also a lady, I have not read about it in the book, Mary Anning, I think so it was her name. She was also a pioneer in discovering the fossils in the English way, of the crustaceans, according to that, what is it, trilobites. Their fossils were in the limestones.
Trilobites, ammonites, and one other kind of creature are also mentioned in this book, in this chapter, I guess.
Jefferson basically gave the theory of incognitum. Those animals who were not identified.
Okay, wait. I have a question.
You confused with that guy who gave a party because of the fossils, right?
What?
You confused Jefferson with the guy who actually wanted to sell the fossils to Cuvier.
No, there was this guy who actually wanted to get the fossils from Cuvier, I think. He wanted to... Okay, I might be confusing, yeah. Anyway, I had a question for those who have... I had a question for those who have read the book. Okay, so Cuvier, as we know, he discovered that there are several extinct species, and he claimed that the world before us was very different, right? But he despite accepting the idea of extinction, which was so radical at his time, he refused to accept another idea from another revolutionary scientist. Now, can you tell me what that idea was and who that revolutionary scientist was? I'll give you a hint. We have already made a post about him.
Darwin?
Nope.
Lamarck?
Yeah.
Guys,
Niharika, you're saying something?
I'll keep quiet. Just one more question before I shut up. So the question is, what was the Maastricht animal? Okay, what kind of fossil was it?
Mastodon.
Animal.
Mastodon.
Mastodon is a kind of like mammoth.
No, I said the Maastricht animal that was found in the Netherlands. That fossil. What was that? That was
a fish lizard kind of animal.
It wasn't an ichthyosaur. No.
Maastricht. Can you repeat the name, please?
Maastricht fossil. Google mat karna. I know you're gonna Google it.
Oh no, no one will Google it. Yes, you might know it.
I'll give you another hint. It has appeared in Jurassic World. Nobody? It was a
No, I know.
mosasaur. Come on.
Okay.
Is it a dinosaur?
No, mosasaur. See, when you say mosasaur, it's not a dinosaur. Like ichthyosaurs, mosasaurs, plesiosaurs. These lived in the oceans, and these are not dinosaurs. Neither are they related to dinosaurs. The dinosaurs never went aquatic.
Dinosaurs are just based on the terrestrial animals, you know. Those are different kind
Yeah,
of
dinosaurs
types.
are terrestrial animals.
So the
These
mosasaur,
were not dinosaurs.
the mosasaur
Mosasaur,
was
yaar, Jurassic World देखी है ना भाई? Jurassic World. So this gigantic thing that just
Yeah, it
bobbles up
was like
everything.
a whale
I
dino.
remember he found the mosasaur in the Mosa River. It was in Netherlands. Is it mosasaur?
Yeah.
Mosa
Yeah.
River. It derives its name from the Mosa River. Yes, it's
Yeah.
mosasaur.
और while reading the book, मतलब ये भी काफी amazing था कि how Cuvier was getting so many ideas. Like अगर कोई fossil लाके बताता था कि okay, we think that this इस animal का इस species का fossil है, so he rejected it. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. ये features हैं, so this is the true taxonomy. And also like जो बाद में shows करने लगा कि okay, so मैं live audience के आगे बताऊंगा कि ये
Guys, page
fossil
43. Page
Yeah,
43.
actually, that was very doubtful. Like, Cuvier भी तो खुद पहली बार ही उन्होंने स्टडी कर रहा है, तो सब उसको इतना क्यों मान रहे हैं? How was he able to do so?
It's even amazing is कि जो वो predict कर रहा है वो सही हो रहा है end में.
हाँ.
There was a fossilized
Page number
bone
43 पर है guys. तुम लोग ढूंढ लो. Book में page 43 पे chapter 2.
It resembled to
Yeah,
the
मिला Megatherium.
I was saying that they just found a bone in 1790s. It was around the time of French Revolution that they proposed it to be the part of
Yeah.
a body part of the Cyclops. You know, you know about the Greek monster, one-eyed Cyclops. The Greek mythology freaks must be knowing.
Yeah, the Cyclops.
Yeah, they thought it is his body part. It resembled it.
In fact, if you watch the movie Monsters Incorporated, Mike Wazowski is based on the Cyclops only.
Cyclops means one-eyed. Idiot.
Thank you, Sakshi and Shreya, so much for facilitating the event. And thank you for guiding us through it, because a lot of people had not read the book also, and still they stayed till the end. You all kept
हमें भी इतना ज्ञान मिलता है तुम लोगों को धर्म का.
Yeah, thank you, Harmilan, for that. And
I think the readers deserve a large round of applause. Like Sakshi and Shreya, they deserve a large round of applause
Yes.
from everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Like,
Rejection या मेरे को
माइक
भी
ऑन करके ताली बजा लो तो भी थोड़ा मजा आए. Like, कोई नहीं.
Wow,
So-
Jasmine and Ishan, so creative.
Thank you, Sakshi.
और कुछ
And
नहीं तो
Sarika और-
यहाँ पे क्लैप का बटन होता है. वही दबा
श्रेया
दो.
कहाँ गई? श्रेया नहीं है.
Thank you,
meeting में.
Shreya.
ये तो ही तो है.
and second,
तो
yeah,
बोलो.
Thank you, Niharika. Thank you, Parth Bhaiya.
I would like to thank everyone else as well for joining us in the discussion. That is, I feel the beauty of discussion, that it's a two-way learning process. You can learn from your juniors, you can learn from your seniors. That is the beauty of discussion. So I hope you all had a great time with us. Also, guys, if you enjoyed the discussion and you feel like some other friends of yours might be interested, then you can share the form of our society as well with them.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for the event. We hope you all had a great time. ये मैंने 10 बार line बोल चुकी हूँ, but okay.
Thanks, people.
So yeah. So we'll be meeting you next week, same time, 5 p.m. Hope you guys read the book, and if not, we are going to make read again.
Also,
So okay.
you said that you read the third chapter as well, almost finished it. So can you give a sneak peek about the third chapter? People might get interested to read about it.
Niharika, I think so. We should talk about the third chapter next week.
Yeah, we will. Definitely. That is what it's going to be about, third and
I think जो मैंने वो point बोला था ना कि वो birds थे Arctic region में where जहाँ पे the researchers had to carefully step on that island के तो वो birds पे ना पैर रख दें. So I think third chapter में ही है.
Oh, all right.
तो जो नेक्स्ट चैप्टर है वो थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल हो जाएगा, उसमें काफी ज्यादा टर्म्स हैं, जैसे कुछ टर्म्स है जैसे कैटास्ट्रोफिज्म और इवेंट्स है, लाइक टर्म्स है जो अभी मैं प्रोनाउंस नहीं कर सकती, अगली बार मैं प्रैक्टिस करके आऊंगी तो उसके बारे में बातें करेंगे कंप्लीटली. हाँ, तो एक्सक्यूज मी, मैंने पढ़ लिया है बट आई कांट प्रोनाउंस देम, पढ़ तो मैंने किया है. ओके, सो
ऑलराइट देन,
आई हैड अ ग्रेट टाइम फॉर द 11th टाइम.
मिलते हैं अगले संडे 5 बजे
इसी वक्त इसी जगह जूम पे. ऑलराइट,
I have
सत श्री अकाल, बस करो. सत श्री अकाल.
बाय बाय.
सत श्री अकाल.
ओके, बाय एवरीवन.
Bye.
Bye guys.